Hello, everybody. This is a Lamley Showcase. Hot Wheels Premium Sneak Peeks today. Very excited to show you. You're going to enjoy this video. I got some good stuff. You're going to want to watch the whole thing. That's a promise. Sent to me by the Mattel team. Wong is premium designer. He's the one specifically that compiled these models to send to me. Consider this a sequel. Part 1 was done in Moab. If you remember, I was in the I was at a cool kind of setting, really cool background. Then part 2 was from Atlanta with Ron himself and Jimmy Lou. That was super fun. You saw a bunch of sneak peeks there. I've got some updates on some of those models. And then consider this part 3 today. We're going to go through a bunch of different stuff. Team Transport, Car Culture, Fast and Furious, Boulevard, 2-packs, diorama sets. It's all here. We'll start with this carded version because about the same time I got these sneak peeks from Ron, I also got JH4. I know it's been shown a little bit, and I'm going to do a full showcase on these carded. I'll open them up. In the first part I did from Moab, we had seen the Honda. We'll open that one up. I love how they're doing the Japanese text on this one. But we did the Honda. I think in the Atlanta series, we saw this one, which is the RX-3 done in Liberty Walk deco. That was a cool one. I think what's interesting is we saw the chase version of the Prince Skyline. But now we have 3 models that we haven't seen. Well, we saw in Atlanta, but here they are carded. But I'll show them loose because they came with these other upcoming. So I'm going to move this out of the way. We're going to start with this Fair Lady Z from Japan Historics 4. Not much to say about these. I'll talk about more about them and maybe I'll get into it. But I will think of, sometimes I think of models that maybe these remind me of as we do the sneak peeks. And I'll kind of do an if you know, you know. And doesn't this seem like with the convention Porsche from, what, a year or two ago? Doesn't that seem like something to you? Doesn't this have a Wagon? I think hopefully I'm saying that right. Midnight vibe. Anyway, I wonder if that was intentional or not. So that's the first one we're going to show. Next one, let's talk about this Prince Skyline. Like I said, we've got the imminent showcase from Japan Historics 4, so I'll probably spend more time on that because we have a lot of other models to show. This is a historic race car, and we've seen the chase. Here is the actual number 39. This is exactly what the car looked like. It's really, really cool to see a licensed race car with all of the details. I mean, there might have been a couple other sponsors on this, but I'm not sure if there were. But this is the car, and it's a fantastic model. I'm trying to see. I think this was designed by Mark Jones before he retired. And then the last one, another new casting. So we have 2 new castings in Japan Historic 4. And I think we did see these in Atlanta, but this is is it the 11? I think that's the name of this one. Yeah, the 72 Toyota Corolla 11. This was actually designed by Phil Reelman, who is another legendary designer. He worked on this one and love the small rims on this one. It just really has a cool vibe, cool car culture wise. It just has a really cool kind of, I mean, this is something you would see walking the lawn at JCCS for sure. All of these actually. I mean, the Prince Skyline's actually been there in that livery. I think JDM Legends had one there a few years ago. So those are the preview. More on those later. You've seen those before, so we don't have to spend a lot of time on these. But let's kind of keep going with some of the models that are coming out very close, because another one that I have, it's in a sealed case, so I can't open it up and show you the carded version. But this Fast and Furious mix is coming out soon, and these are 2 new castings from this mix. This is the Chevy Caprice. I've mentioned with Fast and Furious models, I'm always happy to see, you know, I say that my favorite thing about the Fast and Furious line, even with all the repeats and everything else, is that it does create a budget for the Hot Wheels team to create cars that maybe we wouldn't see otherwise, and they can convert them into other cars later. This thing, however, is very specific. Rob Mathis, who's been at Hot Wheels for a long time, I think he left for a while, he's back, and he's designing for premium, did this design. And if you look at it, what's kind of cool about it is you've got a gap in the front, and the wheels in the back sit a little closer to the wheel wells. This is built specifically to, well, for lack of a better term, Fast and Furious specs. If you look up the Chevy Caprice, it's not only that it was this color with these red-lipped rims, it's that it had all of these other little details. It had this exact stance, and Rob has replicated that. So it'll be interesting to see the future of this casting. I do like it, and I think the Chevy Caprice, I wonder if they could modify it to do more of like a stock version or a factory version or some sort of like racing version. But I'm fine with this one getting some details in the future too. It's really cool to see a Caprice being done. And so that one is coming to Fast and Furious. The other new casting, which is an interesting one, is the FJ Cruiser, Toyota FJ Cruiser. And this was designed by Ron in a matte black model that I think we could have seen years ago, but now we see it as part of the Fast and Furious line. And we'll do more showcases on those. But another new casting that I think makes a ton of sense. Another mix that's coming soon. Right now, Boulevard is hitting, just barely hitting with the Honda, with the Spoon Civic and the teal Porsche and that really cool Plymouth Fury. But there's a mix. I will be previewing this one very soon too, with this new model in it coming from Boulevard. This is the Myers Manx. It will be out soon as well. I don't have in my notes. Oh, here it is. Dima started this one before he left Hot Wheels. Ron says he's finished this one, and this one actually I'll showcase this later, but this top is removable. I'll do this in the Boulevard showcase. I'll show you how that gets done, but it does have a removable top, and that's kind of cool to see too. So Myers Manx, really, we've had one in the basic range before, and this is built from scratch. This Myers Manx full premium, kind of full premium treatment. I think that's a really, really nice addition as well, and kind of nice, like it fits in that Boulevard range. I think is it Gary Cody, who works for Mattel, Matchbox, and Hot Wheels, has a Myers Manx himself. Staying with Boulevard, BMW M3. This is the E46. We've seen it in several different colors. We've gotten a lot of good clean colors on this one. I know red, I know blue. There was the white from Fast and Furious. There's Eibach. There is the BMW M Racing. This one gets Phoenix Yellow, which is a nice color on this. I love it with the chrome-lipped 5-spoke rims. It will be in Boulevard. I assume this is an upcoming 2024 mix. If it's 2025, well, it'll be early, right? But I think this is 2024. So a Phoenix Yellow M3. It's just an interesting color. I love that it's clean, and another nice fitting BMW. But here, even among all the new models, this one really grabbed my attention. And I think it's been previewed on the HWC forums. But we've seen this casting before, but we haven't seen it with its update. So this is the Benz Wagon, done in white. We did not see it last year, right? We saw it released late in 22, if I remember, in Boulevard. It's returning to Boulevard in its next version. Here's the first version. I brought it out in black. And I think this has been well documented. But if you look at this one, and hopefully, I just say, look at the lower portion of the front door. And what's missing? The opening. This line, and Mark Jones has said he just missed it. They were in development on this casting. They did the door lines in the first part, but they forgot to create it. It's a very rare thing for something like this to happen. But the casting was approved without the door lines continuing through that lower panel. But happy to report the door lines have been added. Ron did this, modified the casting. They had to give it some time. That's why we didn't see it in 2023. I think it was 2023 or 2022 that it was released. I think so. I'm trying to remember. Anyway, we haven't seen it for a while, but it does return in plain white. Love the 10 spokes on this one. I guess thinking about a white Mercedes wagon, what's the year? I don't know what the year is on this one, but the only qualm I have with this one is that I would love to see it with white rims, but that's a qualm that's very minor. I'm not really complaining because this thing is going to be one of my favorite releases of the year just because I love the casting. So there it is in white. Very nice to see that. So there they are. So you've got the just coming out Japan Historics 4. You got a couple new castings in the next mix of Fast and Furious. You've got the imminent Myers Manx Boulevard mix, and then I don't know if the Mercedes and the BMW will be in the same mix, but they're coming soon too. That's Boulevard, Fast and Furious, and that Japan Historics. But let's move on and let's fill up these slots so you're not just staring at empty space with what's coming in. Let's see what's coming in car culture. I've got models from two mixes upcoming. I don't know which one is first. I think Modern Classics is first, and then Race Day. I might have to go backwards on that, but I'm not entirely sure. But I know they're both coming. But let's start with Race Day. I have 3 models from Race Day. I think the carded images have been shown, so let's get some close-ups on the models themselves. And I know that the big talk of the Race Day mix is the Porsche, and we'll deal with that in a little bit because there's an amazing Porsche and a Chase, and we'll talk about that in the next sneak peek video. But I have 3 models from this. We're breaking this up. That's how Ron wants to do it, and I think it's really cool to do it. So we're going to start with this one. This is a new casting. It is the Nissan GT4. It really does appear to be very closely based on the Nissan Z, this Generation Z casting. I think what they've added, of course, is just some racing elements to it. There might be some changes to the base. Obviously, the spoiler is new, but it seems very similar to the other Z casting. But obviously, this GT4 is really cool. So this is going to be part of Race Day, and there's one of the 2 new castings. I believe there's 2 in that mix. We'll put this one right here. 2 others I think one is a premium converted and the other one is a basic converted. This is the Bentley. What's the official name? 2018 Bentley Continental GT3. I think we have seen this in basic. I don't have the basic model with me to compare, but here it is in racing livery and I like it as a premium. Love the details in the hood. Like the deco on this one. Trying to think if there's any, I should say that Charlie did design. Charlie, who we did talk to at the Atlanta convention, maybe we'll get him to talk at this next one. He did design the GT4. He also designed the Datsun lifted truck that's coming, if you remember that from Atlanta. All right, and then last one that you're going to see from Race Day is this one. It is the second version of the BMW 320 Group 5 M Racing livery, that BMW Racing deco. In the first version from the 2-pack, now we get it in orange and green. We obviously know what this is referring to. I don't think Hot Wheels will ever put a Jägermeister logo on a release. I don't think they can. So be happy with the orange right here with the green trim. We know what it's referring to, and to be perfectly honest, I think it looks cool. As long as it has kind of a vintage racing vibe to it, I think we are great. Knowing you're not going to see Marlboro on the Senna cars. You're not going to see Jägermeister on a Hot Wheels car. So there goes that. BMW is sweet. Love that one. Now, this mix is going to be insanely popular, especially with the Porsches. It's just going to be crazy. Let's go into team transport. Shall we? Okay, let's do it. We'll start with the truck. Why don't we make this kind of fun? We'll start with the truck, and then we'll add the model. Here's the first truck. You've seen the images of these, but we'll get a close-up on the models themselves. This is the Fleet Street, obviously unlicensed. But if you look at the colors on this one, snap that in, you know that you're seeing something that feels very TRD in its vibe, and you would be correct. I'm going to move this down just a little bit so we can see this. You would be correct, because the model that goes on it, and it's return, I think, would I say return? Or its debut in premium. Toyota, what is this one? I can't remember what the official name. It's the Baja Toyota truck. But it comes into premium, metal chassis, metal body, everything. Looks great with the Real Rider rims on it. Looks great with the BF Goodrich and obviously the TRD inspired deco. This is one of the team transport models that is coming up. Looks fantastic together with the truck obviously being hauled to the next Baja style rally race. Absolutely love that set. So we'll put the truck. Here's the hauler. Jet black. This gives you vibes with no logo that it's more of like, you could see this like at an auction house, delivery truck for some billionaire's supercar, something like that. And that is definitely the vibe that this gives. What's the truck here? Modern tractor trailer and the modern, okay, yeah. So this is modern tractor trailer, modern tractor, right? But they both have the same name. This has the opening side panel. And so if this is being delivered to some billionaire, you'd need a car that a billionaire would want. And the obvious car here would be this. It's, well, one of the obvious cars. Could be a Bugatti, but it is going to be the Lamborghini Reventon Roadster. Reventon with the accent on there. So I think it's Reventon Roadster. This is cool to see. Now, I actually brought out the basic. This is the basic. The one problem, this was released years and years ago, and this is the first time it's been in premium. But from the side, it looks good. From this angle, that rear wheel just is disastrous. A lot of the Lamborghini castings have this issue. So Ron did change around. He did go with a wider rear rim so that now it sits flush. It's a bit of a deep dish that doesn't necessarily fit with the Lamborghini, but at least now you get a much better look from this angle. You don't have to just look at it from the side profile, which is nice. Now this thing, I'll put it in on the little outside display. It looks really cool inside the truck, but we'll go ahead and put this one into the case right here, and I'll move the truck. But they look really, really cool together. I love that they did this kind of this hauler in jet black. You could do a million things with it, right? You could add any supercar to it, but that's definitely the vibe. All right, next one. I'm trying to figure out what car excites me the most. This one will be up there. Here's the hauler. What's this one called? Euro hauler. We've seen this in a few different decos. You get the Nissan treatment, and you get one of the iconic racing cars, the IMSA Z. Ron has shown this on his account. We saw a early prototype of this model, but its finished form is amazing. The details on this are just insane. I think Dima started this. There's so many details, this wide body Z, that they, it just needed to be built on its own. And this thing is just amazing. I love all the details on it. Ron is super proud of this one. Maybe Dima didn't start. Maybe this is all Ron. I cannot remember, and I apologize, Ron. We'll get that cleared. Maybe you said it in Atlanta. But this model is... This may be my favorite of everything we're showing, but you'll see some other cars that will give this one a run for its money. But this is just an absolute gem. One other one. I know you're all waiting for it. I showed it in the last video, but let's get into the details. Name of this hauler, or this trailer, is the open trailer. This is clearly a type of trailer that can be matched with, say, the Chevy truck that is just coming out, or that rally style, hauler that's that looks like it's carrying Euro style race cars. That could be used for it. But Mattel has done something fun and made the first model to go with this trailer, the Toyota 4Runner, and it's fabulous. Let's put it on the turntable so you can take a look at it. It is the 4Runner casting. There are no differences other than the obvious difference. It's got a tow hook on it now. I can put it together. Let's see. Get it around on the turntable. Love the color on this one. I mean, if they just released... What do we have so far? White was the first version of the 4Runner that's still mega popular. Then they had that special anniversary issue in black with the stripes on it, the TRD stripes. Then they've done the issue in blue that was in the off-road set that was out just recently, a few months ago. And now they have this color. And just by itself in this color, it would be a big hit. But it comes in a Team Transport set. We'll get to the car in a minute because it's as cool, if not cooler. There's the comparison. If I just showed you the grills, they're the same. Side mirrors are the same. Show you the rear. There's the obvious difference, but they're the same. The body's exactly the same. Even has that half rolled down window in the back. And then obviously I'll show you the chassis there. I think everything's the same. Even the text on the chassis is the same. So that's the 4Runner. And obviously you could put any trailer with this one. That's, I think, part of the plan. The car, this thing, I said the IMSA Z's up there. This is the other, there's two other candidates. This is the second candidate for my favorite of this whole sneak peek set. And it's a stunner. This is the '89 Toyota Supra. Its stance is perfect. I love the way it sits. I mentioned I would love to see white body, white wheels on the wagon. This one gets the white body, white wheels, and it's an 89 Supra. That's just the vibe. Late 80s, early 90s. Give me a white car, white rims. I absolutely love those. And that's it. Everything else is, pretty much you get that way, the 80s text on the door like Toyota's did. I just love this car. And I love how it fits in the trailer too. So we'll go ahead and put that right there. And how is that for a team transport set? Here's my suggestion on this one. It's going to be massively popular. Just like maybe reserve it as soon as a hobby dealer allows you to buy a case of team transport. I would just do that because that's going to be your best bet to get this because it's going to be wildly popular. So let's here I can even show you. I'll be putting these back. Put that here. I'll bag these up before I send them to Mattel. Put that there. One diorama car. I don't know what the diorama set is. It's some sort of rally set, but what a cool new casting this is. It's the Toyota Stout truck, but this is not a factory Toyota Stout truck. For those of you who are familiar with Ryan Turek, this is his truck that he's done, I think, some showcases with. I don't know if he's actually raced it per se, but this does get TRD logos on it, which is cool. And all of the details that make this a really cool drift truck, all of the modifications that were done to this truck, which is just amazing. And this will debut as part of a diorama set. And I can't remember what the other cars are in there, but this one's tremendous. I absolutely love the modifications here. And for what it is, it's just a fantastic model. I like these. This is like the Caprice. It's a very, very specific version. I'm hoping I'll see how creative they get with future versions of that release, like the Caprice, but built for that, but appropriate enough because it's such an iconic truck. All right, that's the only thing I have from a diorama set. I have just a little bit more before we finish off with modern classics. I wonder if you thought these were coming. Remember this? This was showcased, just art, or just the e-sheet image was showcased in Atlanta in the sneak peek presentation they did at the convention. This is the Porsche Cayman, 718 Cayman GT4. Third version of this, right? White from Fast and Furious, and then there was, premium, it's the third version. Blue, right? In Boulevard. Now we get this 2-pack version with a little bit of a carbon fiber vibe on the hood. Looks really good with the 5 spokes and the dark gray. It's a nice model. But this is, and it's cool that it's in there. But in a very interesting twist, a lot of these 2-packs come with a new, unreleased, not necessarily a new casting, but a casting with a new deco. And with a repeat casting, just a reissue of an already released car. And this is definitely the most significant reissue. It's the Porsche 993. Lots of fascination with this one because it is a repeat. Most of them go back a year or 2 years or even 3 years. This is going back 12 years. To the original release of the 993. I've got it right here. And in my hand, it's a, what is it? Loose, it may not be 200 or 250, but it's that range, this car. And it's from the now infamous last mix of Boulevard that was barely released in stores. You pretty much had to go to stores like Tuesday morning to find it. And now is worth a fortune. So Hot Wheels did something cool. They did a reissue so that people who want this beautiful, clean yellow version of the 993 can get it. But they made it different enough, I'll put these down here, that you'll know what you're looking at. You'll know that this is the later version, and it has to do with the wheels. Obviously, this is the GT wheels, done with kind of a gold color, chrome-lipped gold color. So these wheels probably look better on it. These are the Watanabe style, like Trans Am style rims with the chrome and their black spokes. So it's same color per se. I guess there's a shade difference if you look at these closely. But the wheels, So will this decrease the value of the original Boulevard Porsche? I don't think so. It could increase it. I don't know. I do like the element of collecting of rarities and things that you know. It's always interesting to see what models take on extra value, and this Porsche has been one of those. At the same time, it's so good looking. It's nice to see that there's a version being released for collectors today. That being said, I think this is going to be a very popular set, so be ready to buy it at your local Target. I'll move this out of the way. Modern Classics, like I said, might be coming before race day, might be coming after, I don't know, but you can just take a look at the model. These are all clean. These are all fantastic. We'll start with the R33 Skyline. We've seen an R33 Skyline in plain white as part of the original Skyline set that had the R32, R33, and R34, but this one gets Greddy detailing on it, which is a nice detail. This is based on the actual Greddy R33. And, you know, the real car does exist. So it's clean, but it has a little bit of that gritty influence there, which is a nice, you know, different enough for those that didn't get it or just want the difference. The R33, what is it? We've had Nismo, we've had this white version, we've had Fast and Furious. There's been a few really cool versions of the R33. This one will be amongst them. That's such a fantastic casting. Next one. Another casting that's high on my list of favorites, and it gets quite the treatment. I absolutely love the 190E Evo casting. Started in the original Modern Classics, so consider this a sequel for the 190E, but it's pure Zamac. We've seen silver versions of this car, right? Or the real car, but Hot Wheels made it a little more fun by going Zamac on this one. It's got trim. It's obviously got the headlights and taillights, but love this clean look to match. I mean, we've seen a green version that's clean. I might have a little stripe on it. The original black version is the most iconic, and then this silver version might be up there for me. Silver, Zamac, whatever you want to call it. Just unpainted, raw Mercedes 190E Evo. I mean, so already, R33 with Greddy Deco, a Zamac Mercedes. It's already a great set, and yet they're giving us 3 amazing new castings in this. This is just a sluggers. It just home run after home run. This is not the 180SX. In fact, I'll pull out the 180SX. From a silhouette standpoint, it looks very similar. From the rear, it probably looks very similar. There's some differences in the exhaust. It's from the front that it looks different. And a lot of you guys already know what it is, but if you're not familiar, I'll show you the name of the casting. It is, is it there? Yes, right there underneath the, or right near the logo. It is the Nissan Sil80. Basically a combination of a Silvia and the number 80. I guess I didn't phrase that right. It's a 180SX with a Silvia front end. The story on this is that at the time, if you got damage on the front, it was easier to replace, because of the complicated headlights, it was easier to replace the front with this front end, the Silvia front end, and it's created this car. Now, cool. Nissan allowed this to be licensed. Obviously, they're putting the Nissan Sil80 on it. There's more to these stories, and I would love to hear them, and people can tell them, but another cool, just little, you know, Hot Wheels is owning JDM, and they're really putting out some cool stuff. I know there'll be some people, oh, too many Nissans, but I think it's cool that they did this one. So that is the Sil80 coming out in the Modern Classics mix. This will be a wildly popular model from that mix as well. This is the R32 Skyline, but it is a new casting done in Pandem modifications. So I don't have the normal R32 Skyline to compare, but this one obviously has a wider body kit. Has a lower stance in the front, I believe. And yeah, it has like a splitter in the front. Spoiler's a little bit different. It's actually a plastic spoiler in the back. Could be based on the original R32 Skyline casting that was done, but this one has Formula Drift livery. This is based on a real deco. I think this car was at SEMA, maybe part of the Toyo Tires display, if I remember correctly. And here is a replica of that casting. And this will be the chase as well. I don't have the chase, but it will retain this same deco, but obviously it'll be, I think, black over black or gray over black with these decos. So that will be a really cool chase. That's going to be really popular. I don't know which is going to be the most popular model in here because I think they're all great. Skylines always go, and there's 2 in this series. But to me, I mentioned 3 models, right, that just really took it for me. One is the Supra. The other is the IMSA Nissan Z. But the cake taker of these, if I had to choose one, it has to be the IMSA Z, doesn't it? I think it's the... No. See, this is what happens. You don't need to care what the number 1 is. You just need to know that this is ridiculously cool. This is the Subaru Forester. This is the perfect stance for a Subaru Forester. This is a iconic car culture model, 2004 Subaru Forester STI. I love the color, the rims, the stance. This is car culture perfection to me. I believe this might be Rob Mathis. Yes, in fact, Rob did the R32 and the Forester. The Sil80 was Ron. And yeah, and then is there any other new castings that I would have to mention here? I don't think so. But I absolutely adore this Forester. We're done. We'll go all the way up, all the way down. Thanks for sticking around. I know this is a long video. If you haven't sped it up already, you want to watch it again, I highly suggest you do that. But super thanks to Ron and the Mattel team for sending these over. I'm excited for so many of these. I've already pointed out my, well, you know, of the new castings, IMSA Z, Forester, Supra. But that Mercedes with the modifications, with the improvements, is pretty cool too. So you guys tell me what your favorites are. Thank you for sticking around watching this whole video. Hopefully it was worth your time because it was fun to do. And let's start working on the next sneak peek preview. And I got a bunch of carded stuff to do, right? So I'll get to it. Thanks, everybody. Bye.